The Environmental Protection Agency is rolling out new pollution standards for passenger cars.
The tailpipe emissions rules are aimed at fighting climate change and will apply to all new vehicles starting with model year 2027 through 2032.
Tell us how these new emissions rules might change the types of cars we drive and how that impacts climate change.
Well, hi, Meg. Hi, Lana. This is all about reducing emissions and, by that measure, slowing climate change. Transportation is about 28% of all U.S. emissions. And if you look back here, I don't see a tailpipe at all. This is actually an all-electric vehicle, and we were trying to pop that port right there, but this is the plug-in port right here. It was working. I swear it was working just a bit ago. But if you have more electric vehicles with no tailpipes and possibly working ports, then that means that there's less pollution in the air, and that means that it keeps all of us healthier.
Dave, I wonder how much that is the car not working for you versus operator error on that one. But
I don't have the key. They probably don't want me driving around in here. Yeah.
Dave, how do car makers feel about this new rule? We've heard some are adjusting their EV production numbers and pivoting to hybrids due to consumer demand. Is now the time to implement this rule?
Well, this is not an EV mandate in any way.
Sure.
This is an electric vehicle here, but right over here you can see this is a hybrid vehicle where you can plug this in. You can actually use this as an electric to charge the battery in here while you're stopping and putting your foot on the brake. So there are lots of choices for those manufacturers. They can do electric vehicles. They can do things like maybe hydrogen vehicles that will come online in the future. They'll do hybrids like this, or even cleaner gas cars, and those can all comply with these rules. The folks here at the dealership are telling me that the people who come in here are either in two camps. They're 100% going to get a gas vehicle or 100% going to get an electric vehicle. But as the battery choices get better, maybe people will start choosing the electric ones as well.
Good luck with that.
The Environmental Protection Agency expected to announce new guidelines today requiring car manufacturers to produce electric vehicles beginning in 2027. This push will also target gas-powered vehicle emissions. I know you're saying this all about Biden trying to control what type of cars Americans will buy. And the issue that I'm really battling with is the fact that it's not even resonating. Americans don't want these cars.
No, I mean, the ownership of these cars, or people buying them, more expensive. They don't work in certain environments.
This was the scene this morning at a charging station near 95th and Western in Evergreen Park. Drivers say some of the stations weren't working, and those that were taking a lot longer to charge.
I've been here for over 5 hours at this point, and I'm still have not got to charge my car. Charge it should take 45 minutes. It's taken 2 hours.
That driver says he saw at least 10 cars towed.
Electric cars may be the way of the future, but it's clear there are some problems when it comes to charging them in Chicago's deep freeze.
Oh, we got a bunch of dead robots out here.
Dead robots. Dead Teslas packed the parking lot at this Tesla supercharging station in Oak Brook, a scene mirrored at other supercharging stations around the Chicago area.
I mean, I'm from West Virginia. I'm not driving an electric car in the hills of West Virginia in the middle of the winter. That is a recipe for disaster. And I think also these are unrealistic goals that supposedly we're going to have over 60% ownership by 2032. We're now telling the consumer what to buy. The electric grid will falter under the demands of these electric vehicles. And, you know, there's other issues associated with them. The weight of the car. How does this perform on the highway in terms of guardrails and other issues? So there's a whole host of issues, not the least of which the consumer can't afford them, doesn't want them, and they don't fit the patterns of many consumers across the country.
Thousands of auto dealers are now calling for President Biden to, quote, tap the brakes on the unrealistic government electric vehicle mandate. Their words. With us tonight is one of those dealership owners, the owner of Celebrity Motor Cars, Tom Maioli. Tom, this isn't like you and a couple other people, right? I mean, this is a lot of car dealers writing this letter to the White House.
Yes, good to see you. This is thousands. This is thousands of dealerships that represent multiple brands, not just one brand, domestic, international brands. and all across the board. And this is basically the voice of the consumer. This is not the dealer. This is the voice of the consumer. And what's happening is the manufacturer is being forced to produce these EVs. They're shipping them to the dealerships, and they're backing up on the lots. Our average day supply pre-COVID was 60 to 90 days supply of inventory. During COVID, it was less than 30 because of the supply chain issues. We're now backed up to 12 months with EVs. Consumers don't want them. They're not buying them. We have up to $15,000 in rebates from the manufacturer and $7,500 tax credits. We're talking $22,500.
And people, they think I'm some EV hater. I've owned an EV. I've driven many of them. I'm not. In fact, I've been poking around because I think they're very cool in many different ways. I was looking at a Ford F-150 Lightning, and I saw something, and you have a Ford dealership, and it wasn't on your website. It was on cars.com. I don't know who the dealer was.
Should have been on my site.
I'll go back, okay? But the Lightning retails for what, 95 new, something like that?
Yes.
Okay, right. I saw brand new F-150 Lightning. I mean, like 23 miles on it for $78,000. It had been marked down $20,000. How is that possible?
Still can't sell it. Consumer doesn't want it. The consumer's in fear over the infrastructure. The infrastructure is not there. The White House and the Biden administration and got way out over its skis with this mandate, and the consumer has to buy into it, and they're not. And the problem that exists now is, they force the manufacturers to spend all this money to build these plants and produce these vehicles, but the consumers aren't buying into it. They're afraid of range. They're afraid of where they're going to charge. And we're not talking about, listen, Tesla is a vanity purchase. People have to have a Tesla. They have a second vehicle. Most people can't afford the first vehicle, never mind the second vehicle. And these people are coming out to the dealerships, and they're buying these vehicles, and they're afraid. These are average working American people. They're putting their families in the car. Moms are driving their kids to school. Dads have to get to work. And, if they have to charge on the road and it takes 30 minutes to charge.
We're running out of time, Tom. I'm sorry to interrupt, but a crazy night. Can you kill him? Can you kill a myth? Because there's going to be people on Twitter that pop up after either segment and say, dealers hate them because they're not getting the services revenue. I talk to car dealers almost every day. I got friends that own them, and they make a ton of money on EV service because the EV costs are much higher. The windshield in an EV is like $5,000.
Listen, we're either going to sell EVs, we're going to sell gas vehicles, or we're going to sell hybrids. We're going to sell something. We believe in EVs. They're a part of the market, but it has to evolve, and they're not letting it evolve.
So this is not like we just hate them because they don't need oil changes, right?
No, not at all. No, we want to sell EVs, but they have to evolve. You have to let the market evolve and the infrastructure evolve, not shove it down the consumer's throats.
Electric vehicles and renewables are heavily dependent on critical minerals, correct?
Yes.
China accounts for 63% of the world's rare earth mining, correct?
I don't know that particular.
Will you stipulate that China is the majority of rare earth elements, or they control the mining of rare earth elements to a great majority?
I don't know what the percentage of what China produces.
All right, well, I'm telling you right now, it's 63% of rare earth mining will stipulate to it. Okay. By deductive reasoning, that would mean that electric vehicles and renewables deepen our reliance on China, correct?
Yes. Okay.
Knowing this, your department blocked critical minerals in Rapid Creek watershed, correct?
Okay.
They did, correct?
Okay.
I mean, it's your department, and you banned critical mineral mining. Okay, would you also agree that your department also banned it in northeast Minnesota?
Are you talking about the
critical mineral mining in northeast Minnesota?
Well, we did a mineral withdrawal in the Boundary Waters Conservation
area.
You
banned it there.
I don't know what kind of minerals were there. I don't think they were critical minerals, though.
Okay, I can tell you there were critical minerals in northeast Minnesota.
Okay.
Oh, we got a bunch of dead robots out here.
Dead robots.